Okay, seems like we have level. All right. So, Audio Thing just announced, just released this cool looking plugin called Type A. Um, you can go ahead and watch their video. I think they do have a video to introduce it on YouTube, so you might as well go take a look at that. So, um, essentially, it's an emulation of a Dolby Type A noise reduction system from a tape machine that was used in the 60s and 70s, whatever, as also as an effect that was used in recording to give enhancements to certain frequencies. Some enterprising audio engineer, I don't know the exact details of the history, but some enterprising audio engineer um, decided to see what it would be like if they ran. Probably what happened is I'm gonna guess is that an audio engineer ran some audio through this, not having any other thoughts about it, just thinking, it's a noise reduction system, but somehow possibly inadvertently ran some audio through this. Um, Maybe they recorded a tape with it, recorded the tape with the noise reduction on, and then played it back with the noise reduction off, and then heard the effect of it and thought, oh, that's actually sounds pretty cool. If I put Type A noise reduction on an audio source, look at what it does. It's very interesting, and the way the noise reduction works, and you can hear more about it in Audio Things video on YouTube, is it's a combination of essentially enhancing frequencies and using compression uh, or it's a compansion system end to end in the noise reduction, but there's an initial compression based on frequency bands, and it effectively acts kind of like a dynamic equalizer, except it's more complicated than that. And it's all tuned and geared for the purpose of trying to reduce noise while imparting as little other artifacts into the audio. So this enterprising engineer, whomever they were, came up with the idea of running audio through it in the encode mode and using that as an effect. And this was used a lot to add kind of a high-end spritz to the sound, giving it a more air, etc., and also having the effect of being very musical. The way that it does this works really well with the audio. So what Audio Thing has done is they've emulated this with the four bands of the noise reduction um, emulated in the plugin. So I do like to take a look at the manual. So I do have it open here, but I haven't gone through it yet. So let's take a look. So talk about the noise reduction, multiband, how to install, register, all this stuff. Okay, so enable, disable. Just hear the direct enables or disables the direct dry signal that is then summed. Okay, so you can turn the dry signal off and you'll just get the wet process signal. There's the four band controls, input, output, mix. And then there's a secondary menu, and we have a VU meter switch, input, output, controls the amount of noise. You can adjust the attack and release. That's pretty cool. So you can kind of tune it a little bit more, and you get individual gain for each of the bands. So here's a diagram of how the system originally worked with the four bands. So take a boo at that. And this was, as I said, this was designed and tuned for the purpose of noise reduction on tape. So through the R&D phase, they figured that this signal flow worked best, and then of course they would tune the bands and the dynamics to work best to get the kind of compression that, or the kind of noise reduction they were looking for. So what are the bands? Let's see. The input signal split into four bands, dynamically compressed, some back. The amount of compression on each band is inversely proportional to the volume of the band. Okay. Quieter sounds get brighter while louder sounds remain almost unchanged. This adds brightness and air without generating any harmonic content. Okay, so it's kind of a tilting dynamic process. Band 1 low pass has a low pass around 80 hertz. Okay, 2 is the result of the signal minus band 1 and band 2. Essentially a band pass. Okay, it's a band pass from 80 to 3K. 3 is a high pass around 3K, and 4 is a high pass around 9. Tape hiss, tricks or mods. The original noise reduction system released with different models between 60s and 70s was quickly misused and modded by engineers to enhance their recordings by using only the encoding stage. The most common mod consisted of disabling the 2 lower bands, so only the high frequency portions of the signal were compressed, giving more air, Right. So in this case, you can emulate that by just turning off the 2 lower bands, 1 and 3, right? 1 and 3 are the low bands. So that's the sort of modded vocal air effect. So we'll play around with that. Wet versus dry, there's a randomizer and preset stuff. Okay. So now I haven't played around with this. I've kind of brought up a project here. And I've put type A in place. So I'm not going to go through what this project is. It's a folk song. It's guitar and vocals. It's actually written and recorded by a friend of mine, and he wanted me to mix it. So that's what this is. This is the mix. And the reason I'm using this, like I normally write and record more like electronic kind of soundscapey electronic Berlin school inspired stuff. But this is a track that I've been working on for the last little while, so it's in my head, and I kind of know all the nuances of it. It's also acoustic guitar and vocal, which would actually be really good kind of simplified source for exploring the Type A plugin. So I thought we would use it on this. I've basically all these tracks get mixed down into these buses, which then get mixed down into this bus, and then this bus goes through this chain, and this is kind of like a little mini mastering chain that I typically use. So there is one thing I have to do. I have to route this bus 8 to bus 1, just so that we have everything going through bus 1, and so then it'll go through Type A. And after it goes through Type A, it'll go into the little mini mastering, which has got some EQ. It's got some soundstage widening. I think there's a bus compressor. I'm using Limitless to just normalize the signal. And then I'm using this really great tool by TB Pro Audio called Isolate. And this is really great. One thing I love about it is the dim. So because of the way that I have this set up with the voice, I don't have it going through a signal chain where I can do automatic ducking. So what I'm going to do is only when we're actually listening to the audio and I'm not talking, I'll take the dim out. So why don't we just take a quick listen. I'll turn Type A off, and let's take a quick listen to kind of what this song sounds like, and you can kind of get your ears tuned to it. I'll play it for maybe like 30 seconds or so until I feel like it's enough that we've gotten the general sound of it. And then we'll bring Type A in and kind of go through it. All right, so I got dim off here.
Finger up my ass, hello 50. Got hair where it shouldn't be, and memories that couldn't be. Hello 50, but I'll remember you well, Albert and Michelle. You're two of the sweetest people I know, and the night.
Now let's see if this dim works. You know, I'm going to dim it a little bit more when I talk. See if that works. I don't know. There's not really a lot of people watching right now. I'm more expecting this video to just get posted and people to watch it there. And I've just started doing these live streams, so I'm not really expecting a lot of audience. But if anybody out there is actually listening, maybe you could let me know in the chat if the audio is okay. I'm trying to put some effort into making the audio good. Because I personally think that that's really important. So hopefully it's rendering over okay.
I'll be one with you.
Okay, so what
Throw
I'm
your
going to
hands
do
up.
is
We're 50. We've got
I'm just going to turn all
nothing
these
but
off.
time.
And I'm going to listen to them one by one, starting with the top band one first. And then I'll go through them individually. And we have the direct on, and the mix is full, and input and output are at 0, and same with everything set to default. The other thing is I should mention is I'm using the demo, and I'm using the demo because I'm demoing it. That's what I'm doing right now. So normally I would just demo this in this way, and of course I wouldn't talk, and then I'd make a decision whether I want to buy it or not. So I'm kind of doing my own evaluation of the demo right here. So from what I understand, the demo will go to silence every minute or so. So if that happens, that's what the party goes. All right, so let's turn it on and listen.
Hello, 50. So forget about your back. Get that finger out your ass. Just take your time till your time takes you. And the night may grow colder. On gold, may you always get older. But to me, you'll never get old. Never get old. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Okay, so I'm thinking that this plugin is, well, it's obviously going to be very source specific because I found a couple of those bands a little bit more subtle than the other ones. Like the high-end band and the low-end band I found subtle, whereas the two middle bands I found more overt, which makes sense in a way because for a song like this, it doesn't really have a lot of low-end energy. And it doesn't really have a lot of high-end energy. In fact, it's actually mixed to be a little bit dark. But let's just try it on. Well, I'm going to play around with it a little bit more. So I'm just going to poke around with it and just try some things out and hear what we hear.
Two of the sweetest people I know, and the older and the old. May you always get older. You'll never get old. Passage of time.
You might be able to tell I'm having a little trouble with the user interface. I have to like double click on a button and then it goes on and off, and then I have to click on it again to toggle it. So that's why it's like flashing like that.
Hello, 50. So what if you're fools? I'll be one with you. We've got nothing but time.
There's a bit of distortion happening, so if this was modeled, depending on how this was modeled, it probably is kind of distorting the way that the actual original analog would. I might, it doesn't look like I have a very hot signal going through. Let's just turn all these off. Yeah, it's not very hot, so I don't know.
Some people have left.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the input down a bit. If I can.
50.
Turn it down.
And it's no use to protest.
Get back to it.
The party goes on. Hello, 50. So forget about your back. Get that finger out your ass. Just take your time till your time takes you.
Wow, there's a lot of grumbly distortion going on there. I don't know what the hell that is.
May you always get older.
That's the demo song.
Get old, never get old. Happy birthday. Hands up, we're 50, we've got nothing but time. And the night may grow colder, and the rainbow may run low on gold. May you always.
Okay, well,
But to me,
I mean, that's what it does. It's, in some ways, it's a one-trick pony. It's you either turn a band on or off. Yeah, okay, I guess you can control the individual outputs of the bands and you can mess around with the attack and release. But, it does what it does, and that's what it does. So what I'd like to do is, instead of putting it on the whole bus, I'm going to try just putting it on the vocals. And the first thing I'll do is, and after I'm done this, I'm going to run some electronic stuff through it. So I'm just going to turn all the bands off first. And then I'll play, and we'll just solo the vocals.
hello, 50. It plays tricks on the mind and makes a fool sing. Hello, 50. So what if you're fools? I'll be one with you. Throw your hands up. We're 50.
That's the demo silence.
And the night may grow colder, and the rainbow may run low on gold.
That's nice.
May you always get older.
But apparently we can go into
But to me, you'll never get old. Never get old. Well, some people have left, but they're never quite gone. And it's no use to protest. The party goes on. Hello, 50.
It's a little better.
So forget about your back. Get that finger out your ass. Just take your time till your time takes you. And the night may grow colder, and the rainbow may run low on gold. And may you always get older, but to me, you'll never
I'm not going to worry about the
get
first band.
old.
I'm not going to worry about the first band because the vocals don't really have a lot of energy under 80
Happy
dB. It's not worth playing with.
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
That's nice.
to you.
All right. Well, let's try it on the guitar.
Happy birthday
It just adds a nice polished sound.
to you.
Let's close that one. Oh, that's the vocals. Come on. And here is the guitar instance. So we'll go back. I'll solo the guitar. And I'm going to turn all these off. And we'll kind of find it again. What I'm doing is I'm just mixing it in and seeing kind of where, if I can find a sweet spot for each of these. Same settings from the vocal instance, so I'll just quickly reset those. That's the demo silence. Audio thing. I just see your message. Okay, let's go look. Limiter. So let me know where the limiter is that you're talking about, and we'll take a look. It might just be the way that I've got this. It may just be the way I have this set up as well, why it's distorting. I might even have the audio going to Wirecast too loud. Do you hear it distorting on your end when I have the dim off? Did you hear this audio? So you can kind of hear what it's doing. Let me go through all the bands in kind of this solo mode and listen to what they do. I'll turn the level down. I'll turn it down 3 dB and see if that helps. Okay, so it's interesting listening to the band soloed. It kind of reminds me of tools like that one from Sonnable Freiraum, which kind of lets you make a distinction between transients and the sound, the body of the sound. Although of course this is using a more primitive approach, but it is kind of hitting that same kind of effect. It might be interesting to mix the 4 bands in solo mode using the levels. Oh, see, I have this one turned down. That's not fair. Using the levels. Oh, I see the more menu. Okay, we'll go look in the more menu in a sec. But let me just see if I can. What I'm going to try to do is do a mix of the 4 bands in solo mode, and then mix that in with the direct, and see what effect that has. demo silence. Okay, let's go hunt around in the more menu. More. Limiter. Oh, I see. That just turns the limiter on and off. Okay, well, I'll just leave it off. Let's see what oversample's set to. Off. All right. I'm going to put it on... this is at 44.1, so I'll put it at 2x. I'm not going to bother A-Bing that. I'm just going to assume that Audio Thing did a good job of implementing oversampling. All their other plugins are really good, so why not make that assumption? Okay. All right, sorry, let's get back to now. Let's go back here and turn the direct on. Undim it, sorry. Actually hear what's going on.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Oh yeah, now we're gonna get double demos.
Happy birthday.
That's probably on my end. I probably got some
to you.
So there's some distortion going on. I think it's on my end, and it's probably some gain staging issue that I have, and that I don't feel like troubleshooting. So just ignore the distortion. It's likely not got anything to do with Type A. So let's just get back to this. I want to get a mix of these two.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Very interesting.
To be. Hello, 50. But I'll remember you well, Albert and Michelle. You're two of the sweetest people I know. And the night may grow colder, and the rainbow may run low on gold. May you always get older, but to me you'll never get old, never get old. In the passage of time, it's a curious thing. Hello, 50. It plays tricks on the mind and makes a fool.
Okay, so you can hear what it's doing. That's definitely excessive use of it. I don't know. Let's try the mix knobs and see if we can get a nice balance. I mean, I see that this is really useful to add extra energy and a little bit of energy kind of centered around a particular band, and then the dynamics are kind of working that band, so you get this interesting mix of energy across the spectrum that you can control. So it could be really useful, and I have a feeling the magic is going to be with the mix knobs. So let's just spend a little time with that.
some people have left. May grow colder and the rainbow,
Demo silence.
and may you always get older. But to me, you'll never get
I'm
old.
having problems.
Never get old.
I'm having problems with the UI. It's a bit laggy. I don't know. Again, could be my machine running Wirecast, streaming, and all that. But
Happy birthday
like I can't grab the
to
mix knob.
you. Happy
God, I have
birthday
to click to. Normally I don't have to do
to
that. Normally
you.
I can just move the knob, but I have to click on it. Alright,
Happy
anyway, let's
birthday.
give us some more vocals. Okay. Demo silence.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
Yeah, the mix knob is
to you. Happy birthday
though I don't mind the vocals
to
fairly wet,
you.
but the guitar was definitely too much.
Happy birthday to you. And the night may grow colder, and the rainbow may run low on gold. May you always get older, but to me you'll never get old. Never get old.
Sounds pretty good.
And the passage of time, it's a curious thing. Hello, 50 makes a fool sing.
Yeah, that's nice.
Hello, 50. So what if you're fools? I'll be one with you. Throw your hands up.
It's nice. It adds a nice little bit of polish and spritziness. And by using the mix knob, you have total control of how much of that you add in. Let's try it on some electronic stuff. So and it would, I think it would also be useful for mastering, but of course you'd have to be very careful with it and just well, you can do what you want, of course, but probably it would be best to really just use just the tiniest amount just on the top end. I have a feeling that things with like hi-hats, like really crisp hi-hats, probably work really well with this. I don't have like a demo set up for this, so I'm just gonna like build it from scratch. Just gonna run some like drums through it and stuff. Just electronic stuff, see what it sounds like. See how it responds. I have so many frickin' plugins. Probably have more than WagTunes does, because I'm on a Mac. So well, there's actually a lot more Windows-only plugins out there than Mac-only, but all right. So I don't know. My kind of go-to drum machine is Microtonic. And Microtonic might be fun because it usually has like a lot of energy, and we'll see how Type A reacts. So now that I know kind of what this, see, I don't know why. I have a feeling it's because I'm running Wirecast. Okay, so what I'm going to do now that I know a little bit about what goes on with this plugin is I'm going to go through the bands solo 1x1 with a microtonic sound. My little isolate down here. Very cool. I mean, these in solo mode, you could use this on its own. Yeah, that's crazy. So this makes this plugin incredibly versatile because not only can you use it for its kind of original intended purpose, to add a little spritz and mix that right into your audio, but you can also use it as an effect and completely go wet and get the bandwidth limiting of the bands as well as its dynamic effect. And we didn't play around with the noise. Let's hear what kind of noise. Nice, good, nice electromechanical. Got some hum in there. The sound of capacitors getting warm. Sweet. So we'll turn that in the noise all the way down for now. Here, I'll mute it, or I'll bypass it. That's cool. Nice. That's nice to be able to do that. Wrong band. Demo silence. Microtonic is known for its incredibly hot output when using it in Logic, and so what's really cool with this is it appears that it's overdriving type A, and type A is responding with a very nice sounding analog overdriven distortion. That's a nice sound for energizing reverbs. Demo silence. polish. Demo silence. You can really spritz it up and then use the mix knob to just balance it in. Demo silence. Demo silence. So it's nice. It's nice. It's bringing out those nice kind of high-end little noise ringy subtleties. And it's really bringing them out nice, but they're not overwhelming or overbalanced. And it just gives Microtonic a nice kind of smoother polish sound. Last thing I want to try, I'm pretty much sold on this. So the last thing I want to try is a synth. And why don't we play with Wolfgang Palm's latest invention, Infinite. So I'm just going to use, got to be careful in Logic you don't hit the wrong key, it'll screw things up. Well, this is the setting that I used on the drum. I don't know, let's just see what it's like. Trying to balance here. This sound is a little not boost it a bit. This up here. Yeah, that's a bit too much. So the settings I have them all on, and I just had adjusted them for the drums, but I'll put everything back to 0. Can I double click on these? Oh. Yep, there we go, great. What about these? What do these do if I double click on them? Do they go to defaults? I think they go to defaults. Yep, they go back to the defaults. Very nice. Oh, I have the noise up. I like noise, but alright. Okay, I'm just going to record a little loop so I can A/B back and forth. Good enough. Yeah, might as well loop it. That probably will help. Demo silence. This sound doesn't have a lot of low end, yeah, so it's really nice. I have I have a lot of other enhancers. I'm trying to think of the ubiquitous one that was then later made into a cheaper model by the Aural Exciter, the Apex Aural Exciter. So I have the original, I have the Waves emulation of the original Aural Exciter. I have the Character one by Novatech, I think Plug-in Alliance sells. I actually have a Type A emulation in Nebula 4. I'm not going to call them all up because I don't want to A/B them. Really, the purpose of this was just to kind of go through Type A the way that I normally would if I were just on my own demoing it to decide if I was going to buy it. I thought I would just live stream it. So from what I've heard, it's enough for me. I think what differentiates it from all those other enhancers is, first of all, the multi-bands, so that gives you a lot of versatility. The ability to just play the signal without the direct in it, that gives it a lot of versatility. And I think that I like the way the mix knob works and sounds. It's very balanced and controlled. So I think it would be good as a mastering tool to just give a little bit of extra energy, as well as it seems to work very well on individual tracks, just to kind of give those tracks a nice sheen if you want them to stand out a little bit more. So I think I'm going to go now, and I'm going to go and I'm going to buy it. So thank you Audio Thing for putting out yet another really cool and interesting plugin. One of the things I think Audio Thing does really well is they really focus in when they do a plugin. They kind of focus on kind of doing one thing, and then they work to make it sound really great. One of my favorite plugins of theirs, outside of their percussion instruments, which are very cool, for hats and the Latin one, all those. Also, the Orb is amazing. Fog Convolver is very nice, but I have so many convolution reverbs. I just don't use it that much, but it is a great convolution reverb. The orb I mentioned already. Oh, and Outer Space is amazing. A really great emulation of a tape machine that I used a lot, so I'm familiar with the sound, and it's great having that as a plugin. So I think this is a great plugin. It's $40 US. I'm up in Canada, so we'll probably be looking at a little over $40 Canadian. Frankly, I think it's worth it. I think it's something I'll get some use out of, both on tracks, and I like the versatility of it. And even if it does overlap with some of the other enhancers that I have, I might pull this one up more often just because it gives me more control. So I don't, if I can't find what I'm looking for in one of those other plugins, I'd have to move to a different plugin. Whereas with Type A, I can just kind of stay in this one, and it gives me all that variation. So thanks again, Audio Thing, and hope you guys found it useful. And if you did, think about subscribing, because I'm going to be doing more live streams like this. And I think I'm planning on doing a live stream for an entire production from start to finish. The tracking's already been done, and I have a kind of an initial mix of it that was provided to me, and so I'm going to deconstruct the whole thing and then do a complete mix, and I'm going to try and use a combination of Logic and Harrison Mixbus to do that project. So that's coming up too, once I kind of get things planned out. All right, thanks a lot, and talk to you later.